Hey there, hi there, ho there. It is another edition of everybody's favorite show from Quaker Steak and Lube on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, Goon. I think we can get away with saying that.
We could do that.
It's the Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Always a good time here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Of course, the all-you-can-eat wing buffet. They are starting to get ready for even early. But 4 o'clock, as we go off the air this afternoon, you can come on down and enjoy good hearty wings with great wing sauces. I would recommend a tasty beverage to wash those particular items down with. They happen to have a bunch of those. Best staff in all of the world, and just it really is just one of those neighborhood bar feels when you come to Quaker Steak and Lube, and we encourage you to do so. And again, we greatly appreciate them putting up with us every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon from 2 to 4. Lots to get into today. A lot of different directions we could go. I'm going to go ahead and just open up and kind of get it out of the way, because I've been thinking a lot about it. I've had people asking me about it. This Kyle Snyder situation and the arrest and the allegations, and they are allegations at this point, of being caught up in the prostitution ring. And we talk about this, Goon. There's stories these days in this world. There are not many stories that really catch me off guard. We've seen some horrendous stories, and I'm like, yep, that's the world we're living in. And even with some people that I, have a high opinion of, It's like, I get it. This one is disheartening for me, and this isn't. I'm really not railing against Kyle Snyder, and this is, ultimately, a personal matter. Obviously, there's the criminal charges that need to be dealt with, but it's heartbreaking just because this is somebody that, by all accounts, everybody I know, everybody who knows Kyle, this one was a shocker. In the overall scheme of transgressions against society, I think this is fairly small. In terms of a transgression against his family,
Sure,
I think this is significant,
and
it's very disappointing in that regard. Truthfully, and this is just prostitution itself. With everything else that we have legalized and we are reducing restrictions on, honestly, if somebody, if this isn't a case where somebody is being forced into sex labor, that is another matter altogether. But if I voluntarily say, hey, I want to have an exchange of services, and this person over here voluntarily, nobody else being coerced and forced into it, but two people voluntarily say, yep, we want to have this business transaction, we can argue the morality of it. I don't know why anybody cares. Now, if you are married, that is an entirely different thing. Forget the legal component to it. It's just, again, to me, it's heartbreaking. Sure. Because you have a wife, you have two young kids, and this is something that is always going to be there now because, my God, we live in a society where that story will always be able to now be Googled and all of that. So it's heartbreaking. It's not a situation, again, the more you live and the more you see and hear other people's experiences, and I obviously don't know at all what all led up to this. I don't really want to know. The fact is that we all are battling something somewhere along the way, and I just have become less comfortable. I will say the 20-year-old Ironhead would have had no problem condemning anybody for anything that I deemed unworthy. There are plenty of things that I deem unworthy that, you might hear stories and it's like, I still think that was obviously the wrong thing to do, but maybe you can kind of understand. I'm not going to pretend, and I don't even really want to know what all led to this. I'll let them handle it.
Yep.
However, the authorities handle it, however they need to handle it. And, his family situation has to be worked out. It's just when you have folks, and it's always dangerous. And we've talked about this. You go way back to Charles Barkley and the role model component. There are folks that I think you're okay having as role models. I think it's also worth keeping in the back of your mind and always understanding that whoever your role model is, at the end of the day, they're a human being.
Yep.
And I don't think any of us have gotten through our life without committing probably a few sins along the way. And again, I'm not here to equate one to another. We all have our own, man, I would never do this, I would never do that. This is one that for me, and again, I'm really not on my high horse here. It's just, even if I were to ever think about, and listen, most guys, if we're honest, you're going to see a good-looking woman at some point out of the corner of your eye, and you're going to have a momentary, fleeting thought, at the very least, of, wonder what that would be like. That might be a fun romp. But and again, I'm just speaking for me. I have a wife who I love and adore and is an amazing human being, and we have a kiddo, and I just would never want to do anything that would compromise my relationship or the way they view me. And again, I'm not sitting here telling you that I haven't done things where, I've yelled or overreacted to something in the house, and then it's like, oh my God, they didn't even do that. Or so again, I'm not on my high horse. I'm just telling you, I genuinely wouldn't be able to, even if the opportunity presented itself, because it just is so much in the forethought of my mind, my wife and kiddo. Now,
and it's also so out of the realm for somebody like Kyle.
Yes, and just everything we know about his history.
Never met. You have spoken very, very highly of him and his religious beliefs and stuff like that. That's why it comes as a surprise for those who don't really know.
The other thing is a lot of people, and this happens across the board. It's like when you find out that somebody who is out there preaching or touting, you find out that your fitness guru is secretly downing a bag of potato chips every night. It's like, well, he's out here. Well, at the end of the day, it doesn't take away from the message, right? The fact that there's a flawed messenger, and again, truthfully, we're all flawed messengers. We all have messages we're trying to get out there, and we're all flawed as human beings. It does not take away, to me, from the messages and the positive role model component that Kyle Snyder has presented publicly. I have people trying to, this couldn't have been a one-time thing. I have no idea, neither do you. I don't know if this is, he got caught for the first time in 50 tries or 100 tries, or if this was, in fact, a one-time thing and there was temptations. I have no idea what all went into it, and neither do any of you. And at the end of the day, what does speculating about that get you? I don't even know why.
The circumstances.
Why folks go there.
My personal thing is that he could have went there with his two buddies, not knowing what the hell he was.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
You do not want to speculate on something like that.
Yeah, we don't know the full
story. Eerily reminds me of
what?
Remember the night before the Super Bowl, a guy named Eugene Robinson from the Green Bay Packers accepted the NFL Man of the Year, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, humanitarian award that afternoon, and then the evening before the Super Bowl was arrested for soliciting a undercover cop.
Yep.
I mean, that's just one of those things that's so far out of the realm that it's like, whoa, what's going on there? You know, I mean, obviously he did he got in trouble for it and all that, the public shaming and stuff, but that's what Kyle's there. But you don't know the situation of what happened this past weekend. So we all make mistakes, obviously.
Yeah, and so again, we'll let it all play out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what good it does. I truly wish everybody involved, Kyle, his family, the best moving forward. If he needs to get help, I hope he gets help. If this was a big misunderstanding, I hope it gets cleared up and that the name is properly cleared. All of that stuff. At the end of the day, I just don't know what more. There's nothing anybody can say that is going to make the deed, whatever deed it was, any better or worse than it was. And for anybody and everybody sitting in judgment, again, our lives, the actual impact on our lives is actually, at the end of the day, zilch. There is no impact for all of us. So just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Couple of other items here. I'm not sure. I forgot to check. I was going to check on the status of the Penn State baseball game at PNC Park against Pitt, set for 6 this evening. And the I'll double check in the break here, but neat opportunity. They also have an opportunity to play Friday in Harrisburg.
Correct.
Against Xavier. That they'll have a 3-game regular season ending series against Xavier starting Thursday. That series. Big Ten schedule is already wrapped up. 15 and 15 in the Big Ten portion of the schedule, or the Nittany Lions. But this is a pretty neat week. If they do get that opportunity to play tonight, to be able to have the Penn State Pitt game down at PNC Park, that is a really, really cool opportunity. I think this will be the 5th time, if I'm remembering right from the Go PSU Sports story, but I think this is the 5th time since 2017 that Penn State has had the opportunity to play at PNC Park. And again, that is a big deal. That is a special opportunity for those players. And I think anytime anybody, including major league players, can play in a Major League Baseball park, that's a pretty big deal.
Did they get into the Big Ten tourney? Did they qualify, or if that's still up in the air?
Penn State?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have qualified for it already.
Yeah.
Because they're going to end the season with Pitt and Xavier and then go to the Big Ten.
Then the Big Ten.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure, because I know that the Rutgers series was big this weekend, and they took 2 out of 3. So that's good. Coach Gambino, good job. They're just 50-some games, man. Holy crap, man. They play a lot of games in this weather. Like you talked last week about how many games and practices, the Mad Turtles missed because of the weather. How many baseball games and baseball practices have been adjusted through all this? So it's like, oh, man, craziness.
Yep, it has been brutal this spring. And raining again today. The Mad Turtle.
We went away, so what was the weather here?
Actually, it's supposed to, it was beautiful, but Mad Turtle's supposed to have a track meet today, followed by a baseball game. I just pretty darn confident.
It rained the whole time, so.
Neither will occur, at least today. So that is a bummer for sure. Pirates, since we last had the Goon and Ironhead show, making a managerial change. The Buccos are 2-2 since making the managerial change, which is a substantial improvement over the start of the season. We'll see how it plays out. Paul Skeens deserved another win last night, and again, the Pirates give the walk-off loss to the Mets. An error contributes mightily to the Mets victory, and it's just kind of par for the course for the Pirates. They just cannot get out of their own way. Mets tried to give it to them a couple of times, a couple of different ways in last night's game, and the Pirates just could not take advantage of the opportunities that were given, and so we continue. We'll see.
Thinking about how bad the Pirates were,
and
how bad the Pirates are, and then I saw
the Rockies. And Saturday's game,
21-0.
Yes,
they lost. Fired their head coach next, but then they did the big win the next day.
Yep,
they really turned. They turned it over. They turned it around real quick right there for you. 21-0
in a Major League Baseball
game. 21.
Not a Little League game.
That was the Turtles Padres doing that to him too.
It was indeed. He was very happy about that. Not so happy with Sunday's result. Rockies did bounce back and take the series finale 9-3 to salvage the final game of that series. But yes, as awful as the Pirates have been, and they've been awful, the Rockies are just flat out pitiful.
7-34.
Yeah, that's for those of you not keeping track and not paying attention to the overall history of baseball. 7-34 is not good. That is not what you're shooting for if you are a Major League Baseball team.
It's like 28-130 something. That's jeez Louise, man.
I mean, I think they'll get there by Memorial Day, but there is a chance as we sit here right now. I won't say it's a good chance, but there is a chance that they could roll into June without hitting double digits in victories. Now, again, I think that will happen. Could get to 11 or 12.
I don't know, man.
But it is possible that this team does not get to double-digit victories until June rolls around.
Well, we got Phillies Pirates this weekend, buddy.
Yeah.
In Philly.
Yep. Buccos will make the trip to Philadelphia after taking on the Mets in this 3-game
pitch
series.
Yesterday, right?
Correct.
He'll pitch Saturday or Sunday.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
So
that's nice. That'd be cool to watch.
Yeah.
I did see that the NBC, Fox, whoever's carrying baseball this year nationally, called it Rivalry Weekend. It was the Mets and the Yankees and the Pirates and the Phillies. I was like,
we'll go with that.
I don't know what the hell this was a rivalry back. I mean, it wasn't a rivalry until the
it was a
70s.
Bit of a rivalry.
It was great.
Yeah,
when they were
late
in the same
70s
division,
and 80s, but yeah,
same division, and they were alternating, going who was playing the Dodgers for the World Series, in my opinion. And then the 80s, they broke away and they moved to different conferences, and it was their divisions, and it was done.
Yeah.
That's why I think the Flyers Penguins that's why I think the Flyers Pens is such a big rivalry amongst the Pittsburgh and Philly people, because they are in the same division.
Yeah.
They play each other 8 times a year. There is bad blood there. I mean, the Phillies play the Pirates twice a year, home and away.
Yeah.
You're not going to get bad blood that way,
Yeah, not generally speaking. And when one team is absolutely putrid, it's hard to really fuel.
I did just say the Flyers are involved, and the Penguins they're going down that same route, right?
Yeah, that is very true. Steelers will be heading to. Well, yeah. Hopefully, we'll find a quarterback by then, but we'll be heading to Dublin, Ireland, for a game against the Minnesota Vikings. We now know in the 4th week of the NFL season at Croak. Is it Croak Stadium or Croak Field? Anyway, same Croak Park, where the Nittany Lions once upon a time beat Central Florida in James Franklin's head coaching debut at Penn State. And that'll be a neat opportunity for the.
That was his first game at Penn State.
Steelers and the Vikings, correct.
And then the Vikings get to stay because they play in London the next week. That was a pretty nice little vacation for the players.
Now, the one thing that it makes this a little more appeasable, I think, if you're a Steelers fan. So this is a home game for the Steelers, but this is the 9 home game schedule year. for the Steelers. So with the 17 home games now, alternating years, you have 8 home games and 9 away, and then 9 home and 8 away. This season, the Steelers will still have 8 home games. This is the 9th home game that will not be in Pittsburgh, obviously, but will instead be over in Ireland. It's a neat opportunity. I'm not a huge fan of these overseas games myself. I understand why they're doing it. I get it. I don't think it's a great setup for the players. College makes a little more sense to me, Goon, because it is a neat opportunity, and for college kids, it's like, this might be your only opportunity to get overseas for some of these kids.
Yep.
In the NFL, where you're trying to make things equal in terms of competitive fairness, I'm not sure, unless everybody's doing it every season, taking that week and going overseas. I do think there's, and I get both teams are in the same circumstance. I understand all of that. I don't think it's a great setup for.
I don't think the
teams that are used to routines.
The second week when Minnesota plays the Steelers on one week and then they're in Europe for a whole other week. They're not having to adjust anymore. They're adjusted by that second week.
Yeah.
So the team that they're playing in London, it might be Jacksonville. They're going to, in my opinion, that's sort of screwy for them. And we have talked on an annual basis about this. Just your cuisine. And I know, you go to Europe and it's great food and this and that, but this is not what football players are normally used to. You know what I mean? They're not going to have a place where they're going to have their meals prepped for them like they do at home in Green Bay, in Philadelphia, in
I don't
Pittsburgh.
know if that's true.
They will bring their own people over. That's what they're going to end up doing. Because I tell you the story a couple of years ago when Fitz was with the Houston Texans, and they say, oh, by the way, you're playing the 49ers in Mexico City. And they're like, oh, that's pretty cool, And it's just like, okay, it's Mexico City. It's not like you're going to go to Europe where the water is clean, the food is, everything is clean. He said Houston Texans had to bring every ounce of food, water, and everything their guys ate and drank for 7 days to Mexico's, or 4 days, because you couldn't afford to get any of your guys sick with the Montezuma's revenge. You couldn't eat the cuisine because of the food restrictions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, holy crap, man. And what they don't think about that. But there's a lot that goes into that. And, when the Steelers go over, they'll bring all their own cooks, they'll bring all their own chefs, and they'll try to make it as normal week as possible, even though you're playing 3,000 miles from home.
Yep. But again, you're still dealing with the travel. You're dealing. It's just not a great setup. That being said, I think it is cool for the Steelers and with the Rooney's history. And the Steelers fans are going to travel en masse. And probably a good number of Vikings fans will travel as well, because again, it's a cool opportunity. Ireland is a really neat place to visit. Dublin's a really cool city. So, and the stadium is a neat venue. It really is, and the area around it is very unique, and I think a lot of fun. We had a great time when we were over there. So I do think it'll be well received. I think it'll be it'll provide great publicity for the NFL, for Dublin, all of those things. And as all of the international series games do, I still don't think it's great from a competitive standpoint for the NFL. But
did you ever think
I don't think Roger Goodell cares what I think.
J.J. McCarthy and I was going to say Duck, but he's not your quarterback. Mason Rudolph versus J.J. McCarthy in Ireland. Who would have thought that? Who had that in their bingo card there, buddy?
Well, yeah, we'll see.
I mean, did you see?
Still waiting. Still waiting
what's
on
happening
Aaron
right now
Rodgers.
is that Aaron Rodgers is like, he literally holds the cards in his hands now because of what happened to Derek Carr.
Yeah.
With him having into a forced retirement with the injuries. Now the Saints are out there. They have 3 backup quarterbacks now, so they need to find a starter. So now there's Aaron Rodgers sitting there saying, hey, I'm still here. So he may have played his cards perfect.
Yeah. Although I'm not sure I buy that the Saints are any more of a contender than the Steelers are. I don't think either of those organizations, with or without Aaron Rodgers, are Super Bowl bound in the upcoming season. But that's part of the process here for Aaron Rodgers and for the teams, is evaluating, all right, how close do we think we are
Hand
for
on the
him?
Bible. Hand on the Bible. What do you want to happen?
Man, that is, at this point, honestly, just because again, if Aaron Rodgers, like, truly, man, I want to be a Steeler, he'd be a Steeler. Like, this would have been a done deal. And I just don't know, how often has something worked out, Goon, when somebody is like, yeah, I'm not really sure I want to be here. Like, that generally, again, maybe there's an exception or two out there. Generally speaking, if you're like really unsure that you want to go somewhere and then you go there, like, very rarely does that turn into, boy, everything just came together perfectly like that.
I didn't want to be here, but it worked out.
So yeah, I don't think, like I said, if I really thought Aaron Rodgers could lead them to the Super Bowl, that would be one thing. I think even if this does work out, best case scenario, Aaron Rodgers, it does click, and he is happy in Pittsburgh, and DK Metcalf is happy, and all of that. I think they still fall a win shy of the AFC Championship game, and that's, again, if everything works out. So if that is the case, and I pretty firmly believe that is the case for the Steelers, that's kind of their ceiling with the roster the way it is right now. And again, I really like the draft, and I think they're making some positive improvements that will get them headed in the right direction here. I just don't think they're going to be there just yet. And so I kind of want to see what Will Howard has. Now, not necessarily right out of the gate. I'm okay with Mason Rudolph if that's the option. I wish they'd get somebody else in there with a little more experience, but whatever. The hope would be, to me, by mid-season, it's like, oh, man, we can't keep this Will Howard off the field. He's picking everything up, and he's just looking fantastic. We've got to get him out there. And then he goes out and has, some success. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is our quarterback of the future. I mean, that's kind of the best case scenario. And the only way that happens is if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign with the Steelers. If Rodgers signs and is healthy, even if they're struggling, it's hard to envision the Steelers benching Aaron Rodgers, even if Will Howard is looking gangbusters in practice. I mean, again, unless it's just an unmitigated disaster.
Rudolph and Howard are the only two there right now?
Right now, that is it.
That's it.
That is it right now. Okay. Yeah, so they still got to get somebody else in there, even if Rodgers signs. If Rodgers doesn't, they got to get the Steelers have said repeatedly, we will have 4 quarterbacks in camp.
Kirk Cousins is still out there for you.
Yeah, and honestly, at least as a 4th quarterback to be in camp, I mean, you almost might have to get him on board.
That's a big pile of money for Rodgers or Cousins.
Well, for sure.
And I don't think the Steelers want to do that.
No, not for those two.
Correct.
Because, again, it'd be one thing if you're like, boy, they're just a quarterback away from winning a championship here. Or if you thought, hey, man, they can get another 5-6 years, this quarterback, in a couple of years as he continues to work with our guys, look out. I don't know that you feel at all confident that either of them will be around after the upcoming season. Certainly not more than a couple.
Did Metcalf get enough to be like, okay, I'm cool?
Oh yeah,
I don't want to.
No, financially, he is.
He's set, so he's not sitting there complaining because he wasn't. I can't imagine him wanting to go there without a quarterback there.
We'll talk
unless they paid enough.
some Penn State lacrosse when we come back. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
May means warmer weather, the official start of the summer season, and the month that we want to see ya in a Kia more than ever at Lion Country Kia. Hurry into Lion Country Kia now and choose from 79 new Kias on the lot. Just in time for family vacations, check out the refreshed 2025 Kia Carnival MPV. Its new SUV-inspired styling seats up to 8. Lion Country Kia has the 2025 Carnival and Carnival Hybrid with interest rates as low as 3.9% for 48 months through Kia Motor Finance. There's 4 gas models available and 8 hybrids available with up to a 33 combined MPG. Be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too at Lion Country Kia. And remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Make May the month that we see ya in a Kia. From Lion Country Kia, 1334 Dravilla Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
2 of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again,
The Fox,
your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Tuesday afternoon, a shockingly rainy Tuesday afternoon, once again here in the Valley of Happiness. Penn State lacrosse, men's lacrosse, big win over the weekend over Colgate. One of those games was just kind of a back and forth. We kept checking and getting updates on the game. we were at another event, and it's like, oh man, now they're down a goal. Nope, they're back tied. Now they're down a goal. Now they're back tied. Oh, they're up. There, it was just back and forth. Penn State scored the final 3 goals of the game, and the Nittany Lions now into the quarterfinals. Penn State will face Notre Dame, which absolutely hammered Ohio State. Ohio State was the 4 seed. Notre Dame unseeded, and I think it was 15-6. I should have. I didn't bring that information with me. It's either, I think it was 15-6. Notre Dame over Ohio State. So Notre Dame coming off a very impressive victory in the opening round. Penn State, a gutsy win over Colgate. But the Nittany Lions are on the cusp here again of something special. And we keep talking about it.
The winner goes to the Final Four?
Correct.
And it'll be in Boston. It's up in New England.
Yeah, Annapolis, Maryland is where the game will be played Sunday afternoon. It'll be a noon start.
Oh, no.
And then the Final Four
in New
will be.
I got you. So they play in Annapolis this weekend. State versus Notre Dame.
Sunday.
Awesome.
Sunday at noon. So best of luck.
Did you ever get into lacrosse at all? It just wasn't here.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You did?
Yeah, we followed it.
Not
not passionately. No.
Okay.
No, I mean we played in gym and stuff, but not. We didn't. Yeah, we didn't have a varsity program or anything. I don't forget when that's a pretty recent development with here in Center County at least. The Bellefonte. I think Bellefonte was first, and then State College.
It is a great sport. I had never played it once in my life. Again, they didn't have it at my high school, and now my high school is like one of the top teams in the state every year again now. But I got into it when I was living down in D.C., and they had the University of Maryland hosted the NCAA Final Four every year, and it was just a big party scene and stuff like that. So I got into the game, and I started watching it, and it's hockey, football, and basketball on grass.
It's an amazing
really
sport.
is. And it is absolutely amazing to watch and fun to watch too, because of it's the action that can happen and the hitting that goes on and just craziness, dudes. I mean, I'm telling you, man, how do those goalies don't have pads? I don't know. I mean, how
I'm
do you?
with you.
It's unbelievable. Every time I watch a game, I'm like, these guys are absolutely nuts. Oh, their stick's twice as big. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
But great sport, good people involved. It is how do you call it? A niche sport? Like, it was only in like the Long Island and the Baltimore area when we were kids growing up, but it has really, really blossomed. It's out Colorado is huge, and then Midwest. I mean, obviously Ohio State, Michigan, and all those teams. I mean, they've had success, and Penn State and the Northeast schools. Got to get over that hump, man. You got to get there this year. I think that they have it. They got a nice young little team, but they're tough, man.
Yeah, it's a very good team. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens here on Sunday. I think you're at that stage of the season where it's all about matchups and kind of who executes on the day of the game. There's not a whole lot separating these teams. Likely top-seeded Cornell, the number 1 overall seed, will await the winner of the Penn State Notre Dame game in the national semifinals. So again, best of luck to the Nittany Lions. We keep talking about it, Goon, but it's just reemphasizes how competitive Penn State's athletic department is. Right now, you go with the national titles with wrestling and with the women's volleyball program. You're looking at, Final Four appearance for the hockey team, potential Final Four appearance here for men's lacrosse. I think both baseball and softball, you see just the overall trajectory is
football was Final Four
on the upswing. Women's soccer is perennial title contender now. I think men's soccer is working its way toward that same type of level. So
and men's volleyball making that run last week.
Yeah, listen, Mark Pavlik just does a great job. Same thing, getting those guys to improve during the course of the season and getting them playing their best volleyball. And even in the loss to Hawaii, you're like, they look like they belong very much on the court with a team that may ultimately go on and win the national title here. We'll wait and see how that plays out. But I mean, Penn State was very, very competitive in that match, and darn near forced a fifth set, and who knows what may have happened had that occurred. So, special stuff. I think we'll hold off till the next hour. We'll get into the where we're at now with the NCAA and the ongoing college athletics world, and how this is all starting to maybe possibly shape up. Still just a ton of questions moving forward in terms of how this is all going to work and what it's all going to look like. And even when you think you start to get a handle on it, I just feel like something else is going to come up. There's going to be lawsuits galore. I have no idea how those are going to play out. And we don't know what direction those lawsuits are going to go until we get a little clearer direction on where we're headed here with the payouts and with just everything involved with college sports. I'm okay getting Nick Saban involved here. I think that is good. I think he has the best interests of the game. One of the things that is, I think, going to be a struggle for many of us moving forward is what's in the best interest of the game versus what folks are legally entitled to are two very different equations. I suspect we're going to see as this thing develops. And while I think Nick Saban and many others involved will have the best interests of the game at heart, the problem is going to be yes, that might be in the best interest of the game. And also, legally, you can't do that. And that's what I think is going to be problematic moving forward. But we'll have to wait and see. One of the questions I have, and again, we'll get into this more in the next hour, is still, if there is collective bargaining, when there is collective bargaining, who does the collective bargaining on the players' behalf?
Who's bargaining?
And how much are the players beholden to that? And I still think subplot there is, who do we have representatives at the collective bargaining table from each of the schools, each of the conferences, all of the above, just one collective bargaining for all D1 student athletes? That is still, I think, some very tricky territory that needs to be managed as well. So again, we'll get into that maybe a little bit more in the second hour of today's program. Penn State recruiting continuing to go very well. They got another receiver. I think that's their third receiver now for the 2026 incoming class, next year's recruiting class. And Penn State remains, Goon, one of the, at this point, has one of the top recruiting classes in the country in 2026. And is kind of battling right there with USC right now for the top recruiting class in the Big Ten, which is all obviously very good news as Penn State looks to continue to build toward, winning a championship, but then I think simultaneously looking to build this thing to where they are perennial contenders for the national championship. And good, I'm not sure they're not there. I mean, the Final Four team last year, obviously we have to wait and see how this season plays out, but sure feels like they have a team that will be very much in the thick of the title race in the upcoming year, at the very least. And
they're acting like it.
They're going to lose Drew Aller, and they're going to lose, as all of these teams do every year, going to lose some significant players to the NFL draft and probably a couple elsewhere. But when you look at what they have at quarterback and a little bit of an unexpected battle now for the I think most, including at least I was expecting Grunkenmeyer was going to be kind of clear-cut number 2. Well, Smolix ends up having just a sensational spring. And now you're like, well, they've got 2 really good options, and they're battling it out there. So that regardless of which it is, it does feel like Penn State is going to be in good stead when after the upcoming season. And again, as you continue to look at this thing, you're trying to build this to where you're right there year in and year out. Again, you might have a year where, all right, this is a year where we really do need to rebuild a bit. But for the most part, what those top programs have been doing is reloading. You go back to Alabama and, certainly Georgia, Clemson when it had it rolling. It feels like Texas now is going to be kind of in that territory. We'll see kind of if Ohio State is able to continue to sustain things. I don't think they're going to drop off significantly, but and Michigan's the team that I'm going to be keeping an eye on most closely. I think Goon this year in the Big Ten, because I think this is a critical year for Michigan to just make sure it is staying in the national conversation here.
Are we still talking about Michigan cheating scandal? I mean, anything come out of that as of yet? They say it's coming. I believe that their hearing is mid.
Well, good.
First of June, then there's a decision within 2 months.
Sharon Moore is missing games 3 and 4 already.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
is that not unbelievable?
Are they going to be able to survive?
Is that not unbelievable? So that does bring me up to reminds me of a story.
Yeah.
Remember Florida State? He always used to open the season with Miami and like LSU, and they always used to open these games with these huge head-to-head opponents.
Yep.
And I think Bowden realized, I got to stop doing this because I'm suspending my players for the first game of the season. And he was missing 6 players every year. So he ended up changing those rules a little bit and playing those games week 2 and 3. So, no, but Michigan has a lot to prove because they do have to answer, in my opinion, for, have the cheating scandal. Has that been fulfilled? Is that over with? I don't think it is. This is the issue I have with college football and the NCAA in general is now we're 3 seasons removed from that incident, and how many of those players were on that team? And these are the guys, if they do get suspensions and they do get some forfeited games, and it's nothing to do with the people that played. And that's the worst part about the cheating scandal, is it was really nothing to do with the players, and the players are the ones who were going to have to pay the burden for it. But Ohio State, I think, Headley, they're psychotic. There are people out there who still want Ryan Day gone because they lost to Michigan again. And they won a freaking national title 6 weeks after that.
That does seem a bit much.
Doesn't it? It just seems like a little excessive to me. Like, come on, guys. Let's clean this up here a little bit. And there's guys out there who want, their own people. They want, they want Ohio State people. They don't want Ryan Day. They don't think he fit Ohio State. Hits a triple, or what is he? Born on third and acts like he hit a triple, and that's the what Harbaugh finished him with, because they live. Michigan lives in Ohio State's heads. It's crazy to think about, but it's true. I mean, they still say, like, "Hey, we won a national title last year. Yeah, we still lost to Michigan." That's what they say, and that's just wow. So I don't know. That's schizophrenia to me. I mean, that's just a craziness waiting to happen there. One thing goes wrong, then they're going to start, circling the wagons out there and, get mad again. But Michigan, you're right. Michigan is the team that really needs to go, because they played very well last year. They was expected for them to be down last year. They ended up going to a bowl game and playing pretty well. I got to give Michigan a lot of credit for how they played last year with what they had lost.
Yeah.
So then this year with the, our suspensions coming, is Sharon Moore going to be, fired for the whole allegations of the cheating and stuff like that? What's going to come from that? It just seems weird that the president has now left. The athletic director was there then, is gone. The head coach that was gone, and a lot of other guys that were involved are gone. So I'm interested to see what happens there. As you well know, we've been sitting here waiting for 3 years for this to come down. But yes, I think that we are taking that next step. As you say, we're very bullish on this team, and I am. Our team is acting very bullish, I think. I think they have that little swagger to them right now, staff included. The players definitely have it. Our staff has it, and it's like, people are going to say, well, you're going to beat Michigan or Ohio State. Okay, well, line them up. Let's get them. All you can do is play the games, man, and see what happens. So I'm looking forward to this season, big time. I truly, truly am. I think this is going to be the year that Penn State does break through. I mean, this is the next logical step where we need to go. And that is, I'm telling you, if we don't play for a national title or win a national title, is this going to be a letdown season? And that's crazy to think about. Really crazy, because it's the next step that we have to take. We've taken very small steps. And don't get me wrong, I'm very happy and very proud of where we're at, and everybody should be too. But if we're playing for national titles, we still got to start playing, get in there, playing for them.
Yeah, that is the most difficult step to take. Again, it is very hard, and it is quite an accomplishment to be a Final Four program, to be a Final Four team. But to take that last step or last couple of steps and to win the national championship, because
a lot of stuff's got to go right, man.
There are at least a handful of programs that are right there as well, and I think it's interesting when you start comparing the expected contending teams in the upcoming season. I do think Penn State, to me, Goon, has some significant advantages over, at least on paper. And again, my understanding is, Goon, they don't settle these things on paper. They'll go and settle them on the field. I get it. But Drew Aller having the experience he does at that spot, and again, Arch Manning is Arch Manning. I mean, it's not like he's going to come in and fall on his face. But until you go through some of those experiences, it's a bit of an unknown in terms of how you're going to handle the big moments on the biggest stage against top-notch defensive talent. Now, I will say, for all of the experience Drew Aller has, there's still questions about whether he can step up in the big moment on the big stage against the best talent out there. So it's not like that's a settled situation for Penn State in that regard. But I do think the experience that Aller has there, you would at least expect that as helping him fuel the fire for the upcoming year, and that he's going to kind of take it upon himself to, all right, I know what I did that didn't work. Whether got too hyped up or too focused on not making mistakes or whatever it may be. Hopefully he takes those experiences, learns from them. Again, I think having really both the offensive and defensive coordinator that they have now ought to help Drew Aller and help Penn State in terms of its preparation for those big games, and most notably the Ohio State game. And so while wide receiver remains a bit of a question mark for sure going into the upcoming season, I think you have a coach with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think you have
which coach?
Great coordinators who have a real understanding of what it is they are trying to accomplish. And I think there's, let's start with there's a lot of talent. I mean, there is a lot of talent that Penn State has been able to accumulate here over the last 4 or 5 years. And, they've done a great job on the recruiting front. They've done a great job on the development front. And I think the depth that we saw last year is now firmly established in the program. And, and even where you maybe had some questions, it's like, well, do they have enough receivers? Well, again, we'll find out whether they have enough good receivers. Well, that still has to play out. But it's like, man, do they have enough linebackers? Well, they go out and address that with the transfer portal. Like it feels like everything is in place to make a run. Now, you still need some luck. You need to avoid injuries, all of those things, and see how it all plays out. But you're expecting Ohio State to come back at least a little bit in the upcoming season. I think Michigan, again, I'm really just kind of curious to see what happens with Michigan in the upcoming season. But there's nobody that you're looking at in the Big Ten certainly saying, oh, yep, Penn State looks like they're almost there, but look at this team. And again, Ohio State, obviously, until you do it, you haven't done it. I get it. And I'm right there with you. You got to go out and slay the dragon to believe that the dragon actually will be slayed. So I'm with you 100%.
Listen, Andy Kotelnicki ran an unbelievably dynamic offense last year without any wide receivers.
Yeah.
It was proven on a weekly basis that they did not have wide receivers, and they were still putting up yards and points because of a very, 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 very good / great tight end. Now, you imagine having a quarterback who can actually throw to wide receivers or can actually make catches and make plays. How that's going to open the field up. We talk about linebacker getting those positions got filled because we needed it for sure. But, everybody and their mother knew that we needed wide receivers after last year not having a catch in the Final Four game against Notre Dame, having 0 catches from the wide receiver position.
Yep.
That needed to change. I think that they have addressed that. I truly believe that. And that's where it's like, okay, well, now, the pieces are there. We have all the pieces that we need. Let's make a run now, man. And I think that Kotelnicki, and I think that, having Knowles here in James's head, talking about Ohio State and how Ohio State would, and how they did play them and to beat them and stuff like that. That's some next gen stuff right there. If you really think about that, when he's inside the head of the last year's defensive coordinator, who knows Ryan Day, who knows Hartline out there as the OC, and I'll bite my tongue a little bit, but I'm very excited for this season coming up. Very, very excited, and I'm actually very excited to see the Manning kid, Arch Manning. It feels like it's been 9 years since he's been in college. I don't think I've ever seen him take a snap. This is going to be his 4th year, and this is really his first year starting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, how Georgia, how that thing comes together, or, perhaps doesn't. There's a lot of, Alabama's going to be another. I talk about Michigan in the Big Ten. I think nationally, Alabama's probably going to be one of the more scrutinized and followed programs. Let's see what happens.
It's interesting to see because I am not making any kind of allegations whatsoever. But when people say, hey, look at the last 2 years when NIL has become involved, where people can pay players that the titles have run away from the SEC. When it becomes a fair ball game, you know what I mean?
It is interesting.
Sort of thought about that at all in your head, like, wow, everybody's on the even keel here. Everything's on the up and up, which is it's not. But now that everybody can do it, now is Alabama being set apart? LSU, Georgia, Clemson. These are teams that are had dominated for a decade.
Yeah,
parts of a decade, if not the whole decade. We shall see. We shall see how good Saban really was. What's he, year 2, 3, how long's it been out? 2 years?
Yeah.
He's out 2 years, so we're going to see where that program is right now. I'm excited for it, bud.
take a break here, and we are back with much more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
May means warmer weather, the official start of the summer season, and the month that we want to see ya in a Kia more than ever at Lion Country Kia. Hurry into Lion Country Kia now and choose from 79 new Kias on the lot. Just in time for family vacations, check out the refreshed 2025 Kia Carnival MPV. Its new SUV-inspired styling seats up to 8. Lion Country Kia has the 2025 Carnival and Carnival Hybrid with interest rates as low as 3.9% for 48 months through Kia Motor Finance. There's 4 gas models available and 8 hybrids available with up to a 33 combined MPG. Be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too at Lion Country Kia. And remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Make May the month that we see ya in a Kia. From Lion Country Kia, 1334 Dravilla Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
2 of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors. People invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Tuesday afternoon. And this is an interesting time of the year in the sports world, where obviously things starting to get interesting in baseball. I mean, some storylines are starting to develop. That the races obviously don't heat up until much later in the year. You know, for those of you that teams that will be in races later in the year. Unlike yours truly, the Pirates we already know, will not be in any races other than the pierogi races.
Boo-hoo.
Throughout the course of the summer. But
I never got into it. How was your Padres game a couple weeks ago?
we're into the it was about what we expected. But when you have the NHL and NBA playoffs, and then on the local front, you have the spring sports that are finishing up. And so to me, this is one of the times of the year where it's just like it's a lighter time of the year, and it's when you don't have a hockey team that's involved in the NHL playoffs. It's almost just a time to regroup a little bit, and it's like, yeah, just take in. I've talked about this before, but the having a kiddo who is learning baseball, and again, the Mad Turtle has really taken to it this year. I mean, he's been into it the last couple of years, but like he's really understanding it now. He's really like, it is noticeable development and significant development. And so it is.
You talking about his game skills or his mental skills in the game?
Yes.
Game, good.
Both. And it is. It's just, it's fun to watch, but it also, I forgot, to be honest with you, kind of how much I loved baseball as a kid.
Yeah.
And I've always enjoyed it. It's not that I ever, but it when I was a kid, I mean, we followed this stuff like really closely. And even now, I don't follow any of the sports as closely as I did when I was a kid or in college. It was, I just don't have the time for one thing. Like, it was,
you'd have watched
all
the
we
NBA
did.
draft last night.
Probably, if not that, I mean, at least I'm completely familiar with the rosters of the Major League Baseball teams. I know all of the starters. I mean, I couldn't name you I can't name you all of the starters depending on the day for the Pirates right now, for crying out loud. So it just has changed, but he's getting to that point now where he's starting to, all right, like, I know these guys all play here. I know these guys all play there. But more so, it's just on the development side and kind of, oh yeah, this is why I loved baseball, because there are so many components to it, right? It's man, can you hit? Can you hit given the situation? Can you knock the ball where they aren't? Do you see the field, and then you're on base? And it's just such a great game because there are so many different elements to it. And obviously you have to have some physical talent. You have to be thinking all the time about all of the different situations, and you have to be able to react and just quickly follow through on the decision-making process. And obviously you're relying on teammates to be where they need to be, and all of it. And it's just, it is fun to kind of look at it again through a kiddo's eyes. That being said, again, the college sports season, we just had graduation weekend at Penn State. For those of us that are townies, it is a nice couple of weeks here where you get to really have the town back.
Not this week.
To yourself. Yeah, starting this week. And it's nice. And then but from the Penn State perspective, again, we head into the summer months, then obviously everybody's going to be following football program, any news that people can glean there. But as you start to look forward again, right, it's this ever evolving world of sports. I saw Gracie Merkel is returning to the Lady Lions after she went into the transfer portal. It's not unheard of, but it is rare that players are entering the portal and then returning to the program that they had been with. Again, it's not unheard of by any stretch, but I think that was a piece of good news on the Lady Lion basketball front. But when you look at the overall picture, and I will just, there's a couple of things that I will caution folks against. Penn State, and I get it. I mean, I'm a Penn Stater, and I'm with you. We think this place is special, and I think it is. We think that we don't necessarily need to do things the way other people do, and I think there's some fans that get upset almost when it's like, hey, why are we doing this when we've never had to do that? And you go back to, Joe Paterno keeping all of his assistants, and it's like, my God, James Franklin doesn't keep his assistants. Well, right, because that's the world that we're living in. And it is a good thing for your program if assistants are moving on. And as James Franklin has said, not taking lateral jobs. And for the most part, there's been a couple of notable exceptions, but for the most part, that is what has happened. When they move on, they're moving up the
we're
chain.
not losing coaches per se. So, Joe had 9 assistants. Now
that's
you're
another
analysts, and you're allowed this and that, and
yes.
So,
yeah, and the whole the transfer portal thing has become I don't think fascinating to me because people want to. I think there is a desire, and if your team isn't, and this isn't just a Penn State thing. If any team out there, if your team isn't hitting the transfer portal hard, meaning you just got 1 or 2, there seems to be this just knee-jerk reaction by the fan base. Well, we at our school with our program, we develop our talent. We don't have to go out. Folks, I'm just telling you, if like Penn State Wrestling right now, okay, that they are recruiting at such a high level that they're not looking to hit the portal. Now, even without looking, you get a Rocco Welsh coming in here, and that's obviously not insignificant in any way. But if you think any coach out there, again, at the end of the day, what these coaches' jobs is to make their program the best it can be. Well, how do you make your program the best it can be? You get the best players, the best athletes that fit your program that you can. Well, if you have, let's just do it by grades. If you have an A- quarterback, like, man, we're set. Oh, but here's an A+ quarterback that says he wants to come in. Why would you, as the head coach, whose job it is to make your program the best it can be, and this is what some people seem to think the coaches should do, is, well, no, you already committed to this kid. No, I mean, yes, but also you didn't commit to the kid to say that now we won't take anybody else at your position. And I don't care. This is for any spot on any team. Again, if you have the 3rd best second baseman in the country, and the best second baseman in the country says, hey, I'd like to come join your team. Now, again, all things being equal, that yes, personalities can play into it. Is there troubled background? All of that stuff. I'm saying all things being equal, we'll take the more talented player, and let's give that a shot and see how that works out. Again, it is a different world. And I think, and I'm with you, I'm struggling to get my hands around it and think about it that way. But I'm just telling you that if you think your program is above the transfer portal and name, image, likeness, that's another one that's just been really interesting to watch, because this is one of those things where whatever your program is doing, you're okay with. But if another program is doing more than your program, well, that's going too far. Now, it doesn't matter where your program is. And if they start to offer more, you're like, well, yeah, no, we got to try to keep up with the Joneses. Well, if you are the top if you're Ohio State and you have the best deals, again, people criticizing that, it's like, well, okay, folks, but what your solution would be to what? Oh, yeah, we have all of these resources, but we're not going to use them and not try to take the best advantage of the opportunities we have for our student athletes. Well, why would you do that? That would be stupid, is what that would be. And all of these teams, again, some have more resources, and there's no question about that. But why would any program not be doing everything it can to provide the most resources it can to procure the best, student athletes they can, and to go out and try to win championships?
I guess if we're going to just put the transfer portal in a perspective.
Yep.
I just don't like how easy it is to get in it. It's just like, I didn't win, I wasn't given something, I'm out of here. And it's just too easy for guys to leave, because I have said a million times in this show that there's not a player who played college athletics who did not at one point say, I can't do this. No one ever came through college saying, oh, God, I'm going to kill this. No one. Not one person ever.
Yeah.
So that's the problem I have with how easy it is to get through, and then some of the timing of when the portals are open. Losing our backup quarterback, who would really help against Notre Dame this year, by the way.
Yep. No doubt.
Losing him, by the way, I got the two things you don't do when you eat wings.
Yeah. What's that?
I went 0 for 2.
Yeah.
Eyes and going to the bathroom. So I'm my eyes are a little watery right now, because I just rub them in there with a little hot sauce.
That'll hurt.
Yeah, but the portal thing, I'm okay. I mean, I don't like how guys were in a portal, because it was the second semester already. We're still playing last year's season, and we have guys here who have to leave. I didn't appreciate that. Basketball was bad. Basketball is getting ready for a Final Four, and then they're having, the portals are open, and it's like you have guys who are playing on teams who are in a transfer portal, and it's like, what is going on here? There's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
Now that needs to get fixed up and cleaned up and all that. That's very, very fixable. I just don't like how easy it is for guys to just jump in and jump out. 4 years, 4 teams. I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. That's one of the things I would change. The couple things I would change would be that I will give you. You've heard me say it. I will give you one get out of jail free card. Like, hey, it just didn't work. It was a bad decision on my part. I screwed up. I need to go somewhere else. Okay, you don't have to sit out a year. Or your offensive coordinator / head coach leaves. Position coach, maybe, I don't know. There has to be something that brought you to Penn State, and then they leave, and you're sitting there stuck. See, then I feel the transfer portal should open up more entry and stuff like that, play right away without sitting back. But I really do believe, to get back to where we want to be, and that is that you got to sit out a year if you're going to go into the transfer portal. It's just too easy to go in and out of it, and it's not fair to the coaches, to the universities that are paying these players. Again, how many horror stories have you heard? I think that stuff's cleaned out now contract-wise, but guys going in, taking money, and then just transferring and just leaving. Quinn Ewers from Texas, who's now, who was offered. I can't believe what he did. Everybody knew that was going to happen. He would have made $8 to $10 million on the NIL deal this year as a returning senior. And he says, no, I want to go to the NFL. He doesn't even get drafted, I don't think. I think he's a walk-on. He's a free agent tryout.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy who's like, well, what are you thinking? And there's no one around him telling him honest answers. And that's an issue.
Well, and we've talked about it, Goon. I think it is going to be a much more difficult decision for a lot of these guys when you have that final year of eligibility remaining, but the NFL is calling. I mean, there was a time where it was almost a given that, well, no, you go to the NFL, especially if you're a first round talent. I'm telling you, even if you're a first round talent, I don't think it's an automatic. Well, yes, obviously you go to the NFL because of the NIL that potentially there for you versus again the money that is guaranteed or not guaranteed when you go the NFL route. And I think if you, again, depending on the circumstances, but if you feel like you can improve your stock even a little by coming back, and the money is even if you definitively would make more by signing the NFL contract. Again, those NFL contracts go up each year. If you can get in the ballpark of what you think you'd be making in the NFL for that extra year of seasoning at the collegiate level, there's a lot to be said for that.
I've noticed that's the big thing that's been different in my 30-year absence, and that is the NFL draft. You're a first runner, you go. Bye. No one's going to say a word to you, be upset with you, this and that. Then it's like, then it's the whole, do I play in the bowl game? Whatever. That's on you. That's the whole new world we live in. But the thing is now is that I'm seeing and I'm hearing is that people are getting where they're going to be placed. And then the second question is, if I stay, where could I go? So I heard this about a couple of guys in our classes a few years ago, and that was they were told you're a third or fourth round pick. If you have a great season next year, maybe a second. So what is the difference in a 2 and a 3? That's just how the player has to look at it now versus what we talk about, the tread on the tires. You're playing here for 4 years. That is a lot of beating you're going to take before you go into the NFL, where you're taking a lot more beatings and a lot heavier, stronger beatings and longer lasting ones. So that is what I had recognized in the last few years, and that is that where you're projected, and where if you do have a breakout great season, what is your max? Where are you maxed out? And that's where a decision is made, because I seem to think that's a pretty good parameter, I think, of the NFL coming back and saying, hey, if you light it up next year, have an All-American football season, the tops you're going to be in the second round. Right. So then, there's your decision. Well, I'm a third or fourth rounder guy right now, or next year, if I have a great year, everything goes right, I risk injury. Now, this is before paying, by the way. So maybe that's even changed now. So, but there's things we want to change, Jeff. But with the portal and with the NIL and how guaranteed money versus just NIL money type of thing. I mean, it needs to be fixed up. But how can it be fixed up? I mean, how are we going to get? I think you can clean up some stuff, and that is one is being the portal. Timing of it. And then when the profit sharing comes in, I think that the NIL numbers are going to go down. I really do. I just think you tell me, if the university just keep asking the fans for this money for these players, money for the players, and the players are getting stipends and they're getting profit sharing, and they're gonna try and go get this. It's like, the well is going to dry up. I'm sorry. I'm already hearing people complain about it. Like, this is way too much. Like, it's just crazy, but there are people out there who still believe in it. And, you and I do. I mean, I'm happy the guys are getting some stuff. I'd rather have it much more controlled rather than, it's just so far out there. Like, oof, no one's really watching it. And now they're going to bring the clearinghouse to check on all NIL deals and stuff like that over $600. Which, is that a good step in your opinion? I don't think it's a bad step. But there are going to be some, me saying this guy's worth $1 million to me, but then the NCAA came back and said, well, he's only worth $800. Right? That's what you were saying last week.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I don't know what the legality is. I don't see how, and again, I'm certainly not a legal expert, and they obviously would have at least looked into this and have some confidence that they can pull this off and be within legal parameters. I don't know how you can tell.
How can you tell? How can somebody,
two people that have reached an agreement that, hey, I think your services are worth this to me and my company.
Correct.
I don't know how you can have a third party step in and say, no. The services are only worth this much. I just don't know.
How does somebody in Indianapolis tell me I can't wear a Rolling Rock pony bottle on my helmet from the Rathskeller? How can they sit there and say, well, that's not worth that, you know? But to us, the State College, it is, Jeffrey. That's just tongue-in-cheek stuff, but I'm like, you know, you're right. There are people who you know, we go to Hawaii. Things are different in Hawaii. You know, they have different, you know, stuff in Hawaii is be different than in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, you know? Yep. I don't know. We do a lot of that in the last 4 or 5 years, have we not, Headley?
Well, and even within, you know, again, it might be worth more to a certain business with this certain athlete, just with the clients we have. There's just, I'm not sure exactly how you, I guess we'll have to see how it is set up, the power that it has. The other part of it is, like, do they have to sign off on every deal that is out there?
Over $600.
That seems like it's going to be a bit much. That's every deal that's out there. They're not making NIL deals for $200. So,
well, I've often thought about I would barter my bar bill down every weekend if I was in college right now.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. Take a break here. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
May means warmer weather, the official start of the summer season, and the month that we want to see ya in a Kia more than ever at Lion Country Kia. Hurry into Lion Country Kia now and choose from 79 new Kias on the lot. Just in time for family vacations, check out the refreshed 2025 Kia Carnival MPV. Its new SUV-inspired styling seats up to 8. Lion Country Kia has the 2025 Carnival and Carnival Hybrid with interest rates as low as 3.9% for 48 months through Kia Motor Finance. There's 4 gas models available and 8 hybrids available with up to a 33 combined MPG. Be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too at Lion Country Kia. And remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Make May the month that we see ya in a Kia. From Lion Country Kia, 1334 Dravilla Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
2 of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors. People invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
Back here on this Tuesday afternoon, they are taking up legislation in Harrisburg. It's interesting. I think there's some misunderstanding, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I think I have it right. This issue with the private schools and the public schools, or the boundary schools and the non-boundary schools, which is the terminology that the proposed legislation uses, is the state isn't telling the PIAA that it has to do anything. What it is clarifying is that the PIAA does have the authority to create separate championships for the public and the private schools, or the boundary and the non-boundary school districts. I'm not sure I've listened to the arguments. I'm not sure I really understand what the argument against doing that is. The only argument I really hear from the non-boundary schools, the private schools that have been dominating largely football and basketball, and have had a lot of success in some of the other sports as well, is that, oh, come on, you're penalizing us for being great. Just work harder, you public schools, and quit your whining. It is, if I had to water it down.
Do you think
that's what it would be?
Said?
Oh, I don't think. I know.
I'm a private school guy.
I've listened to the interviews.
I'm a private school guy, and I am 1,000,000% behind having two different titles. I don't like it.
Well, it does not make any sense. Because it isn't like, I don't think anybody honestly, they may say otherwise, but nobody honestly thinks that the reason these private schools are having more success is, boy, doggone it, they just outwork those public school kids. Those kids just don't have quite the work ethic that these kids do.
It's a very good joke. I like it, but I got to cut you off. Where were people complaining about Erie Cathedral Prep, Pittsburgh Central Catholic, Guilfoyle, all of these? I'm just playing devil's advocate here now. No one was complaining when it wasn't the Philadelphia PIAA schools.
No, that's not true. I'm going to come
out the angry Philadelphia guy and say, well, no one complained when Central Catholic was winning state titles.
Not true.
You know what I mean, though. To the point where they're going to try and do this.
No, there was a lot of talk. I don't know if they just didn't have the right ears or whatever, but there were a lot of people saying, well, of course they're winning. They are recruiting.
Yes.
They have. Yep. You look at a roster, and it's like, well, there's 10 Division I athletes on that roster. Of course, they're beating this school that has one Division I athlete. Now, if it's the luck of the draw, and sometimes that happens. I mean, you might have, like, Baldy Galeria's baseball team was the example I used on our morning show today. They had a great class. Really a couple of classes that came up together. They were very good athletes. They loved sports. Yep. They played together. That's what I love. All grew up together, all of that. and they had a wonderful 2-year run to state championships, a 3-year run overall. And then, lo and behold, this year, and it's nothing against the Bald Eagle area kids this year, but they have dropped off precipitously.
Yeah.
Well, that is what happens in public schools generally. Now, do you have, obviously, there are programs out there where it's like, man, they have a great coach, they have a system, they develop the youth at a young age, and they are consistently really good. And you can name, there are a number of schools and a number of different sports that, yes, man, that coach, it's a public school, but boy, they have great athletes in the area. And okay, that's fine. That is one thing. Being able to, and again, the school should be allowed to do what they do. If Bishop McCord has a terrific coach, they've created a great culture, and they get great wrestlers to come into that program. Fantastic. But that is not the same, and it's not competitively fair to suggest that team go out and take on a school that just has to take the best kids that are available in the geographic area they are located in. And I don't care how hard those kids work, you're not going to be able to compete with a school that is bringing in 6 or 7 of the best wrestlers from across the country to compete on that team. I don't care what you do. It's just not competitively
I don't
fair.
like it. I don't like it at all.
Now,
you're talking about Bald Eagle area. They have a dynamic, once in a 5-generation class or two. Something was in the water 15, 18 years ago. The kids are balling this and that. And that's great. They go out and they do this. And thank God they did win their state titles and stuff like that. Or they, go up against, just say they have to go against a team out of Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, private school, this and that, recruited to the gills, and they lose a baseball game by 26 runs. Like, how the hell is that going to be? How's that a good feeling about a season ending? I mean, that's what happens in football pretty much. I'm going to use St. Joe's Prep, obviously, is the one that they're the big boys in PIAA football right now, and they have been for a while. Inside information is that LaSalle's taking them over this year.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm hearing, buddy.
All right,
there's 3 top 10 kids in the state of Pennsylvania are out of LaSalle this year, and they have all been offered by Penn State. So we got to get all 3. We get the hat trick going. So
there you go.
No, but I mean, this is a thing to me because I am a private school. What are you, a non-boundary kid? That sounds that's a little too woke for our show.
Yeah.
Non-boundary kid. But and I grew up. We weren't allowed to PIAA. We would grow up with kids on Abington and CB West and this and that, and we didn't play them, so we never knew how we would match up with those teams and from the CB West era and stuff. So now I come to Penn State, I'm playing at Penn State with guys from every school in the country, you know what I mean? And you talk about it. I always say my buddy Brad Jones from Black Hawk High School. Jones, he was like, we had that, what you're talking about Bald Eagle area. He's like, we had this like crew of kids, and it was just like we grew up on a little league. We were great in little league baseball, softball, football. We won all these things, and we went through college, and we grew up. And then he says they went and played. I think they played Berwick in 1992. I think Jonesy said they played Berwick. I think that's who they played, and they lost by like 40 points. It was just like, because Berwick was, a boundary, non-boundary, if you know what I mean, type of school. So it was just like, it was really deflating for him and stuff like that. So we always talk about it. Now, New Jersey has done it, but you talk to anybody in New Jersey, there's like 78 state titles that go around down there. That's the thing. You got guys, well, I'm a 4-time state title winner. You're like, oh, okay, now relax there, Tiger. So, but they do have like 17 divisions and 2 different. Yeah. They have public parochial, I think. I hope it does get to that because it's sort of absurd. And even in basketball, the Catholic schools and the private schools, it was like, and boys and girls, they won almost 80% of the games, I think, in the head-to-heads. And yes, I think it is about that time. But then you got to do that. Now you have. It used to be Friday and Saturday were the playoff games because there's only 1 through 4. Now there's 6 games for football. Now we're going to try and make 12, just so we know. We might have to do a different week thing type of thing.
Well, I
agree. They should have something because it's not fair. And I'm one of those guys I am on that private school bus. I was going to a private school. So I come from that situation. And I always thought, and I still do think it sucks that, local kids with a great team and this and that go against these all-star high school teams and just get slaughtered. And I'm like, man, that ain't fair. It ain't right. It's not a good look, first of all. No, I believe that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Listen, the PIAA could have done this years ago. Now they have hid behind what they say is a state law that prohibits them from doing that. I don't think it actually does. The proposed legislation, all it does is just clarify that, no, you definitively do have the right to set up your championships in that regard how you want. Now, it doesn't mandate that they need to do that. I'm not sure there's a lot of impetus within the PIAA office to do it. Now, maybe with enough pressure from the general public and from the public schools and the ADs there, maybe they can be pressured into taking some action. I would be okay. I understand why they went to the 6 classifications in football and basketball. This is just my opinion, and I'm certainly open to hearing others' thoughts. I think it's too many. I would go back. I was okay with trying it, seeing it.
Who does it benefit more, the smaller or bigger?
What is tough is that there are, like in this area, and maybe my view here is skewed because I live in this area, but like we have district playoffs or tournaments where you have, well, in some cases you've had one eligible team. And it's like, okay, you're a district champion because there's nobody else. State College has 2 other schools in the district. And if they're both having down years, like sub 500 years, they may opt out. And, well, I mean, how meaningful? Meanwhile, you might have another classification in the same district where there are 14 teams competing for a title. Like, it's just such an imbalance. Now, are you still going to have some imbalances with 4? Yes. And I do get, that it does get tricky. I mean, I'm not saying it's clearly you should only do 4. I think it was better. I think it was better at 4 because I think you had some schools that were closer in proximity and close enough in size where you could be competitive. And I'll be the first to tell you that's a debatable point. And depending on where you're at in the state, it's like, well, no, there's no way a school with a graduating class of 600 and a school with a graduating class of 450 should be competing in the same. And again, it may vary. Oh, well, it does vary depending on the school, depending on the sport, the area, all of that. And I'm okay. I think we talked about this one other time. I would be okay if at the end, to me, have your public school championship, your private school championship, however you want to put the definitions on those. And then if those teams want to, the champions of those two are like, hey, let's get together and play a championship for the fun of it.
What's the winner?
Cool. I'm okay if you want to do that. I don't know if it makes a ton of sense in a sport like football, sport like basketball or wrestling. It probably, go ahead. Let's do it. And I don't know that you need the separation in all sports. To me, football and basketball, clearly, yes. And then I think maybe you can take it on a sport-by-sport basis and talk it through and let the sports governing bodies decide, all right, yep, we do need separate opportunities here. Or no, there's not that much of a difference. There's not that much recruiting going on in our particular sport to make it a big deal. That's fine. But again, just so we're clear, if this legislation is passed, it doesn't mean that this then happens, that there is then, the legislation passed and state law now says you have to do this. No, all this state law is doing is making it abundantly clear to the PIAA that it does have the authority to set up its championships the way it wants, and that the state government is not preventing it from separating public and private schools, or boundary and non-boundary schools, however you want to, whatever terminology you want to use. You can set up the championships the way the PIAA, sees fit.
Football, it would not happen. It would not happen with the extra game. One is, I just think that it's that time of year where they're transferring into wrestling,
correct?
Transferring into basketball. The winter sports is over. Yeah, how many people are in the end of the spring? They can get a weekend off, and if it's basketball,
and
wrestling,
you need another full week of preparation at least for the game. No, I'm with you.
Yep, but I mean, I would love. So you're right. The other sports, it would be different. I mean, the whole thing of the whole six thing in my opinion, is because some of the smaller schools, the tiny schools, were going against teams that were 3 levels ahead of them. Now they're 1 and 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I never had to deal with it, so I'll never. I guess I understand, having watched my brother's teams at Abington, and then how many boys are in your classes and stuff like that, and they restructure.
Yeah.
And then I hear about Aliquippa. Every year they're forced to play up 3 divisions.
Yeah.
What is with that? Is that someone says it's their decision, and somebody says that's absolutely not their decision. Is it because of people moving in and out of the neighborhoods? Is that what I've heard?
That I don't know.
Okay. But I don't know. I know that they play up a conference or a division or 2 to where they are. So, but I mean, I said it 10 minutes ago, but I look at these town kids who grow up playing with their buddies and stuff like that. I mean, I have high school friends I didn't know until high school. Yeah. Some guys you grew up with since kindergarten. You guys were in kindergarten together and type of thing, and you go and you play Little League and you play CYO basketball and baseball and football, and then you go to high school and you remember those things. So I definitely think that there should be 2 titles. I mean, that would be 12, right? 12 is what we're saying. I mean, I guess the Catholic schools, they could restructure and just say there's only be 4 divisions or non-boundary schools. But then you have a school like North Allegheny.
Yep.
Who can compete on a yearly basis with these monster schools, State College High. Do you think they're going to want to stay in the non-boundary, or do you think they're going to want to go play in the plus division type of thing, the non-boundaries? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Will there be teams who are going to say, no, we want to play against LaSalle High School and St. Joe's Prep and Bishop McDevitt? You think there would be teams like that who will say we'd rather play in this, or you think they're going to
would doubt it. Okay. There's just such a competitive disadvantage. I mean, it really is. it would be comparable to a Penn State playing an Ivy League school, and I know that has happened over the years, but it. Again, could you have that once in a century moment? I suppose you could, but that's what it would be. I mean, it would be the miracle on ice that you're looking for. And yeah, I mean, those are really cool stories when they happen, but they are so rare and such an exception because the Soviets, to follow through on that comparison, I mean, they all were professional hockey players. Like the difference between having the ability to bring in a bunch of elite talent. And again, nobody's saying Bishop McCourt's kids in wrestling or the St. Joseph's kids in football. All of these kids are working their tails off. That's not the point. And it's not that they're not deserving of the accolades. It's that there is such a competitive disparity between the opportunity that those programs have versus the public or boundary schools that it is just, it's not reasonable to expect that there be a competitive game with any kind of frequency.
You know, there's a whole other conference of schools in Philadelphia that aren't even invited to the PIAA called the Interact Leagues.
Well, listen.
Have you heard? Does Pittsburgh have any of them? Western PA?
I think at the end of the day, the PIAA needs. This is just my opinion. I'm not very confident that they will. But I think the PIAA needs to listen to what the athletic directors at the public schools or the boundary schools are telling them. And what they are telling them is that this isn't fun. This isn't competitively. You're not providing an opportunity for your students to go out and, again, on any kind of an equal playing field, be able to prove themselves. And I think you ought to want that for your schools, for the kids.
Yeah, no argument for me here. I would want that too, because one, it'll be a little more competitive, I guess you'd say, if but you might be having. So how many private 6As?
That's a good question. I don't know what the actual numbers are. Yeah, I don't know what the actual numbers are in that regard.
I mean, all the other private schools in the Western PA and state in the area they're not 6A. Like North Catholic, they're definitely not Guilfoyle.
No,
they're all
local. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, now all of a sudden, Pittsburgh Central Catholic's got a first round playoff game in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Well, so this is the other thing, and I don't know what really could be done. I mean, State College has obviously been in a tough position for a number of years now because
a lot of travel, man.
They have to travel to find similar sized schools. Right? There's just not any other district nearby that is the same size, and even relatively close. Like Altoona is kind of close, but they have to travel to Harrisburg to find schools that are similar size,
Cumberland Valley,
competitive, across the board in athletics. And so, again, it's just there's not a great solution across the board where everybody's just going to be all right. This makes us happy, and again, it's not State College's fault necessarily, although I will say when they had the opportunity to split into two school districts, some of us were advocating for that in part for that reason. I mean, if you split State College into two districts, State College North and South or East and West, whatever you wanted to do, this would help.
This is crazy to think about. Now you got me thinking now. I'm thinking issues, of how many 6A Western PA teams are there. I'm like, how many 6A Eastern PA teams are there? No, it's only LaSalle and Prep. Roman, Bonner, Judge, Ryan, they're all a couple divisions below.
5 or 4.
They're 3, 4, or 5.
Okay.
So I mean, there's like the playoff system is going to be. Well, that's an interesting. How are they going to have if there's only going to be 26 teams in the whole state?
And that is that is another discussion that will
so go back
for sure need to occur. And again, what we're primarily talking about, or at least what I think we're really talking about here, is the postseason play. I don't think anybody. I haven't seen anybody suggest anywhere that these schools not be able to play one another during the course of the season. Obviously, those opportunities
are going to play. Mount Leb, they're all going to play.
Correct. Those opportunities will continue to exist. What we're talking about is when it comes to the playoffs and your opportunity to go compete for a championship, do you want the competitive advantages that the non-boundary schools have? Do you still want that those schools to be competing against the boundary schools when 99 times out of 100 what the result is going to be? And I think most of us have come to the conclusion that no, that's not really what we want to see when it comes to postseason play. So.
It's easy sitting there saying, make boundary, non-boundary. It ain't easy. Because there's only going to be 15 6A schools or 15 in each division. There's not that many.
Yeah. And listen, there's similar discussions that are going to be occurring in college athletics here in the very near future. As we've been saying, that with the road that we're on and not turning back at this point, the competitive disparity between the haves and the have-nots in Division I athletics is only going to widen. That gulf is going to continue to grow. And so
that was your point from day one.
Yeah, at some point, I think you're going to have to break off, and whether you can have a secondary division there is, and exactly how that would look and what the parameters are that would be on that. That's the stuff that will next have to be figured out.
Interesting.
That is going to wrap things up for today's show. We will be back on Thursday with another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show right here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Until then, be good and be safe.
May means warmer weather, the official start of the summer season, and the month that we want to see ya in a Kia more than ever at Lion Country Kia.
Wanna see ya in a Kia.
Hurry into Lion Country Kia now and choose from 79 new Kias on the lot. Just in time for family vacations, check out the refreshed 2025 Kia Carnival MPV. Its new SUV-inspired styling, seats up to 8. Lion Country Kia has the 2025 Carnival and Carnival Hybrid with interest rates as low as 3.9% for 48 months through Kia Motor Finance. There's 4 gas models available and 8 hybrids available with up to a 33 combined MPG. Be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too at Lion Country Kia. And remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Make May the month that we see ya in a Kia. From Lion Country Kia, 1334 Dravilla Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.